What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Today, I'm going to be going through 5 new knives that are all USA made that I'm super excited to share with you. Let's get into it. All right, so I thought this would be a fun one to do. I have a couple of models that are brand new here on the table, and I also have some models that are not new that I'm still very excited about because they're new to me, and or there's a modification or variant to it that I haven't had before. So hopefully that makes sense. And let's just get into them because they're awesome knives that I really like. So we're going to kick it off with the Spyderco Sage 5. Now, this is not a new knife at all. This has been around a very long time, and this is only my second variant of this knife. Now, I do regret getting rid of the first one that I had. That one was the M4 coated blade with the mint green scales. I really would love to have that variation back. I don't even know that I would necessarily mod it. But this one here is just the generic S30V. It is the lightweight, if I didn't mention that. I went ahead and picked up these Parson scales. I really like these scales a lot. Let me turn this light up just a smidgen. It looks like there we go. I really like these scales. They are kind of that marbled carbon fiber. I think the shred has like the giant tears on it, but this has that marbled carbon fiber. It's very lightweight. It's a great summer carry. Spyderco does a really high heat treat on their S30V, and it comes with a fantastic factory edge. Love this for putting it in the pocket in the summertime. It's very, very discreet. It takes up very little space. It has excellent ergos, and because of the way that they've done the liners on this one, Spyderco did the contouring here to push it out, but they also matched the liners to that, so it retains the factory shape, which is very, very comfortable. And the action on this one is really good. I have absolutely no play, not even a hint, and it falls shut. I mean, the Sage 5, I feel like the Para 3, the Ojimbo, all of those models from Spyderco do a really good job with the phosphor bronze washers and having them be very fall shut action with minimal engagement. I can't just do the compression lock or engage the compression lock and have it fall shut, but I can just very lightly start it and it falls on its own. It's very nice. And again, for a summertime carry, this is great. Or lightweight, you know, if I have not a lot of space, or if I'm going somewhere where I don't have a lot of room to carry a lot of gear or a large knife in the pocket, this is great. And that wire pocket clip lets it ride super deep in there, and then it has very minimal that's sticking out, so I do leave the wire clip on this one for that particular reason. But that is the Spyderco Sage 5, and that is the Parson scales. I believe you can only get those from Parsons' website. I do not believe that they're sold anywhere else. Maybe on Etsy. I didn't check on Etsy, but they're not listed anywhere else. They're really nice. I'm going to crack this open just a little bit more and hope that the light isn't too blinding for my video camera there, but I think that lighting is going to help with being able to see the gear here a little bit better. And I apologize as I try to figure all this out. New gear, new microphone, new webcam, but awesome knife. I really like this one a lot. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The next one is going to be another summer lightweight carry, and it is not one. It is one that I've had before. I've had the Para 3, and originally I wanted something that fit my hands exactly, and that's where I have found that this does do that. You have plenty of space on here to grip onto. I didn't really love or appreciate at the time the blade shape and size. The difference between the Sage and the Para 3 is you have more of a leaf shape blade on the Sage versus on the Para you have the bird shape. And the difference is you have a tip that swoops up, and this one points down, so it's going to be a little bit stronger to kind of go down into those utility cuts, whereas this one's going to be a little bit better for the puncture. And they're both going to do good cutting, but the leaf shape I have found from Spyderco has more edge here to pass through materials without slipping out. So I do have both, and I do feel like both blade shapes serve a specific function. But what really changed it for me, this was the Sprint. That's in S90V. I think I got some tape on here from using it in S90V, and I've not tried S90V from Spyderco, and they always do such a good job with their heat treat, and their factory edges are phenomenal. So I wanted to test it and try it, and so far it is performing really, really well. There's been no chipping on here whatsoever. It's been really good, really, really good. I think I picked a bad time of day to be recording because the light is still coming in through here. Do I need to close this the rest of the way? Yeah, I think you can see it fine with it closed. Okay, I think I figured it out. We'll be good the rest of the video. But again, the applied weapons tech on here really changes the ergos. This was the lightweight, and applied weapon tech has everything built out and includes an extra washer to really make this work like a regular para 3. It was centered. I think I need to probably tighten down the pivot a little bit because it didn't have any play like the Sage 5, and now it has a little bit of wobble in it. So I think it is because the pivot probably backed out a little bit, but with the pivot tightened down to where there's almost no blade play, like you have to wrench on it to find it, it works really well. And I like the knurling on here. They do a good job with that to make sure that you have plenty of grip. And again, super comfortable to hold. So I really like the Para 3. Again, I think I said these were all USA made, but actually the Sage 5 is a Taiwan made knife, but I'm going to leave it in there because I really do like that for summer carry. Now, a brand new model to me is going to be the American Blade Works Model 1. This one here is the Wharncliffe Magna Cut with the Altum scales. I really like that as well. And so far the Magna Cut seems to be performing really well. This is a very interesting knife because it has the milled lines. You can see the blade was actually milled out instead of belt grinded. And that really is an interesting look, but it's pretty thin and it performs really well. I'm not a big Altum guy. I wanted to try a knife with the Altum, and for some reason I just like this satin look with the Altum. I think it's very nice looking. The ergos on this are super comfortable and it's a great work knife. It passes through the materials nicely. You have a nice flat edge so that you can do a lot of cutting. When you want to move up onto a flat surface, you can easily move into here and get a lot of the blade's edge to be able to use it. I don't have anything really flat to demonstrate on here, but it does work really well. The jimping's in a good spot on the back here as well, and it's super, like I said, super comfortable. I like this pear shape. It's very reminiscent of what you'll see from like Spyderco knives that actually make it very comfortable to hold and use. It does have enough space for me to use like a trigger style grip, and that'll allow me to move up on the blade a little bit for some detailed work. Now I have a lot of blade left over in this instance, but it does work very nicely and it's very comfortable. Good access to the lock bar. Mine does have just a hint, like a little hint of lock stick. I have not been able to get that to break out. I had a little issue with getting it centered, but I just took the bolts loose and used the card trick, and I think it's pretty close to center now. At least it's looking like it through the camera and to the eye. It might be slightly over to that show side. This is an American knife that has ceramic bearings in the pivot, super smooth action. Really smooth. It's a very controlled shut, but it's very smooth on the close. And I'm hoping naturally that a little bit, I think part of the problem is it's not engaged enough with the lock. It's kind of stuck off to the left a little bit. I'm hoping it'll wear in and break in over time. I'm getting ready to send this around to the pass around group, so if by the time I get it back after all the reviewers have checked it out, if it's still not gone, I'll just reach out to American Blade Works. I've heard that the owner is very easy to work with. I'll ask him about sending it back in to check it out. But this is a great knife, USA made. You're getting Magna Cut, good materials on this, nice action, good cutting performance, and that heat treat's coming in at 63.5 if I recall correctly. Really good deal because I think these start at like $200, and that's competitive with Spyderco, with Hogue. I really like this one a lot. Great little liner lock knife. Last two, let's keep it moving. This is not a new knife at all to the industry, but it is brand new to me. This is my first TRM. This is the TRM Atom. I did pick up the knurled titanium that has a slight contour to it, and I've really enjoyed that a lot. This is a very thin, slicey knife. Good construction. It is reinforced steel inside of the titanium scales. I think they could have done a full titanium scale here, but I'm imagining from a production perspective, it may be just easier because they already have the CAD built to just have it with nested liners. That's okay though, because that steel is just going to really reinforce on the inside and make it strong, even though it is a more thin, slicey performing knife. 20 CV on here seems to perform really well. Great access to the lock bar. This one here is broken in really nicely. One of the things that I like TRM does is they have a rubber washer directly underneath the head of this bolt, which keeps it from backing out once you've tuned it. So it's been very easy to tune. Very minimal hints of blade play. You get this a lot on phosphor bronze washer knives. You get a very slight hint of side to side when you wrench on it, and it's very hard to pick up the movement, but it doesn't impact the performance of the knife. It doesn't impact the lockout of the knife. Just makes it a little bit fall shut, and it could be that this one might need to be moved over slightly, but as you can see, once that lock bar engages, it doesn't really allow it to move easily. This one's here, you got to drop it and kind of like send it home. You got to give it a good push home. I don't like the thumb studs on it. I did find I ended up having to go pick up the little grommet that goes on the thumb studs, and ever since then it's been perfect. No issues whatsoever. Great action, good lockup. There's no lock stick at all on this one. And I've had an issue with this one with the centering since I've gotten it. I'm not quite sure what it is. I've played with the pivot. I've tried to just adjust it with the card, and it may be that I need to do a little bit more, but it's a little difficult to do this one because you have to remove the cover, and then these are Chicago screws. They go all the way into this steel liner here. So adjusting on this one's a little bit tougher to do. The disassembly is definitely a little bit more complex, and that's why I say I think it would have been nicer just eliminate one of these. I think 3 is very excessive. I think you could have gotten rid of the middle one and just had these 2 that are spaced out a little bit. And I think that would be enough, and it would be really nice if this was just an onlay, because then you get rid of some more hardware, right? You just have the bolts, you have these 2 bolts. Even if you want to make them Chicago screws, I would say what you would want to do in that case is flip it over to the other side if you're not going to make it reversible, and just have this entire side be clean, and have these 2 screws go through and pull that down. But I guess you can't remove these bolts because technically that is what's holding it to the steel liner. So I think sandwich construction with 2 bolts here is probably not going to be any more offensive than what's already on here. The knurling on here, even though it looks like it's going to be super aggressive, it's really not. It's very nicely done, and it gives you grip without being aggressive. That's the best way I can think to describe it. Great pocket clip, deep carry, goes in and out of the pocket nicely. I've been very impressed with the quality. There's just a few things on here that to me show that they need to kind of develop a little bit more. It shouldn't be this difficult to center, and I think they need to reassess the construction. I think just solid titanium washers, have your 2 bolts on either side here, and it's going to get rid of these 2 bolts, and you're just going to have a much cleaner looking knife with a lot less hardware, and it's going to be a whole lot easier to disassemble and maintenance. It's not hard. It's not hard to disassemble and maintenance, but it's definitely more of a challenge than most of your modern knives today. All right, let's go on to the last one because we're getting up in time here. The last one is going to be one that I've had kind of a bittersweet experience with, and that is going to be the Tactile Knife Maverick. So I started out with the first variation in titanium, and I had issues with getting that one centered. And I decided to send it back to them because I've had very good experience with their customer service. And not to say that I have had bad experience with TRM. I probably could reach out to them, but I have a feeling I need to remove the outer scales to adjust it from the inside. And I think once I do that, it'll probably be something that'll be a little bit easier to do. But with the Maverick, I have found that they definitely need to work on their QC process. The first one had a little side to side. This one has none. The second one had lock rock, and then the third one was perfect. But I was a little turned off at that point, so I just decided to part ways with the knife entirely. Then they came out with this one with this beautiful fat carbon purple haze, and I think it looks really nice. It's an incredible look. Really beautiful colors. The light coming in this time of day, unfortunately, a little bit of an issue for me with the recording, but it looks great. I think it's a beautiful job with the milling on the purple haze. It just came out really nice. And this one perfectly centered, really smooth action. Trying to block the shade a little bit so you can see. Yeah, perfectly centered, beautiful action. Great weight. This one here is lighter than the titanium, but more durable than the micarta. And I just think this is like the perfect variant for the Maverick. And I like the size of this one. Like the TRM, it's a very thin, slicey knife. You got Magna Cut coming in at 63.5. Great heat treat on it. I don't love this pocket clip. It's a little too industrial looking for me. I would have preferred that they just installed this style clip. I think this clip on here would have been fine. I think it actually would have been preferable. It looks nice. It has a nice style to it. And I think they definitely could have pulled it off. It's definitely not my favorite pocket clip, but it works well. It goes in and out of the pocket. It's not a tapper. It doesn't catch on anything when you walk by. And this is just a great EDC. And if this would have been the first one I would have gotten, I would have probably, this would have been in the contention for new knife of the year. And it is potentially, but just with the QC problems and everything that I've seen coming from Tactile with this knife, I have pause for doing that. I like the model. I like crossbar locks. I think they're fantastic knives, locks. They're very strong, very usable, very friendly to use, keeps the finger out of the blade path, keeps it locked out nice and solid. I like that this one here has adjustable holes as well. So you can adjust the 3-hole. I'm trying to make sure that I can. There it is right there. I might be able to see it. Do I need to bring it? The light might actually help me here in this instance. There you go. So you have 3 holes for adjustment right here. I think mine's in the middle, and I like that tension. I don't think it needs to be stronger or any lighter. But these are the 5 that I have that are from U.S. manufacturers, since the Sage 5 is from Taiwan. Let me know what you think about these 5 new knives in my collection that I've picked up, representing the old US of A. Which one was your favorite? Is there one on the table you'd like to experience? I think that TRM, I forgot to mention, that one starts in, I think, at $199 also, if you get the micarta or the G10. I think the G10, I think the micarta is like $50 more. But these are new to my collection that I like a whole lot. I'm a little off here, and I'm excited about. I love these summer carries, and that Maverick also. That one is super lightweight. That's going to be a good summer carry. But let me know what you think down in the comments, and let me know what you got in the pocket that's new to you. Love to hear that stuff from you. Shout out to everyone out there that leaves the likes, the comments, and that is subscribed. I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.